Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Friday afternoon, Erev Shabbos Kodesh. Still exhausted. Went bicycling today. Probably had to get out of it. Um, Nice to see. There's Beit Guvrin, not far from where I live, maybe a 20-minute drive. There's a gas station, and there's a lot of soldiers with their families. Kind of like giving me memories back to camp. You know, all the people come up to visit their kids. So all these families with the soldiers, the kids with food, little picnics they're having at this gas station, these tables. So people at least get a little break. So as far as personally speaking, um, my son Moshe was home for a day or two, and Yoni also was home for a day or two. So most of the soldiers now are getting a little bit of a break. Um, so a lot of them, some of the neighbors' kids we're seeing, kids are here for a day, kids are here for a few hours. I'm not sure if that's getting them ready for the bigger operation, but either way, I got a little interesting something here. This is not candy. This is actually exploding wire. So my son, the older son, who's in the Honda Sakravi, that's what it's kind of training for, was he's been doing as far as explosives and stuff like that. So he gave me this wire. He said, keep it away from fire and also computers. He says you shouldn't have us in an enclosed room with a lot of computers. So I'm nice that he gave it to me. I think we'll be okay. Well, we'll see if we make it through this year. But it's exciting parsha. There's no question it's one of the most monumental, fundamental parshas in all the Torah. And we know that there's nothing that's just story time. The Sivir Shalom, Ramban, whatever the Avos did is a simon for us. Mas Abbas Shalom Labanim. And the Sivir Shalom already 3 weeks in a row, he keeps hitting this home. Any story you see in the parsha, there's something to learn from it. So the first thing the Sivir Shalom focuses on is lech lecha me'artzecha, going from your place, artzecha, melodcha, besavicha, ela aretz. And of course, all the Mepharshim jump on this and just say go to Eretz Yisrael. What's the leaving thing have to do? Of course, you go to Eretz Yisrael, you're going to have to leave your place. So the Sivir Shalom talks about, well, it's melodcha, because every place has their own nisyonos. Each place has their own chatam, their own teva, their own culture. You know, you live in fancy Flatbush, you have those issues. And you're leaving fancy Five Towns, you have those issues. Or Florida or something. So you're leaving those issues, those averos, that bad stuff. And then there's Besavicha, Mishpacha. There's Mishpacha. Your family, Mulatcha, has also, each family is different. Each family stresses things. Each family is great in X. Each family is good doing this, doing that, the other thing. And then there's Besavicha. There's some traits, for good or bad, that you get from your parents. Whatever that is. I'm not going to say anything. My parents usually listen to this. So there's three things that a person that Avraham Avinu has to stay away from. There are some things that he really connected in a bad way with the places where he lived, with his neighbors, and some things with his relatives. They weren't the best of people. And then there's some traits that he got from his parents that he has to get away from that. Then each of them has their own challenges. And some things it's really difficult to get away from. Some things you grow up with, some things you see in your house, or some people, their parents do X, so the kids are doing this. You know, parents are not great at X, the kids are doing this. So you see some things are very difficult to really break this, to break this habit, this teva. And the Sivir Shalom recognizes this, but goes a step further and says the reason why it's saying this is, first of all, two things. First of all, it's lech lecha. It's not just Avraham Avinu, it's everybody. Everyone has their own challenges, their own sionos, their own tests to take. And each person has their own situation. What's easy for me may be difficult for somebody else. What's difficult for somebody else or easy, I find challenging. So everyone has their own sionos, everyone has their own things, their hurdle. And this is what really the tafkid of the world is, the tafkid of a Jewish person is. And Haitacha, the Baal Shem Tov brings down, that's possible. You go to Shemayim after 120, and they say, well, you learned a lot of Torah, great. You davened a lot, fantastic, but you didn't do what you were supposed to do. What? You know, I learned Torah, went to Daf Yomi. I'm not a guy. I davened, got tefillin and everything. Well, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. So I don't know if that means you have to go down to Uretz again. I don't know exactly what that means, but you didn't do your job. And that's kind of a sad, sad thing, that you can kind of really live the life as a good Jew and do a Torah good Jew, but you didn't do your thing. So it's kind of a sad commentary, and that's really what Steve Shalom is really looking at, as far as depending on what stage of your life, whether 0 to 20, you have a lot of tithes for this, 20 to 40, you're kind of in a steady place, and you have to keep moving. Lech, lecha, you got to keep moving. Or the third stage of life, you're kind of, towards the finish line, and you have to kind of be consistent and kind of work for things and not let your ruchnius be stagnant, and you kind of keep striving for things in ruchani. So that's one piece that the Nesiv Shalom really focuses on. The second piece is really Eretz Yisrael. He talks about this is the parsha that Avram is told to leave and go to the land of Sher Eka. I'll show you. And there's this Indian of showing Abraham this nevuah, which will take place in Eretz Yisrael, which can't take place in Padan Aram, or where he was from. By Omer, Hashem spoke to Abram, but as far as appearing and Abram seeing things, can only take place in Eretz Yisrael. And this is what Siva Shalom focuses on, that to get to Eretz Yisrael, you have to leave some things behind. It's impossible to live your life like you're out of Eretz Yisrael, in Eretz Yisrael, and get the same bang for the buck. We know that the fancy Gemara in Ksubas is someone who lives in Chutz La'aretz. It's like Doma, like there's no God. You live in Eretz Yisrael, you have what does that mean? You don't have Hashem in Chutz La'aretz. The point is, you don't see the Hashgacha Pratis as well. So it's kind of like there's no God, because things are happening. Why is this taking place? Why is this taking place? And you kind of really lose the Hashgacha Pratis and seeing Hashem's Yad. You see in Eretz Yisrael a little bit clearer. And one of the fellas, Sammy, he asked one of the guys in the Chabura, do you feel different learning in Eretz Yisrael? The guy goes, not really. It's, what? Right, learning this piece. It's not really. It's, what do you mean? He goes, well, since I retired, I can kind of learn, Mark, talking to you, I can kind of learn, even in Chutz La'aretz, I learn the same amount. So really nothing. But my kids and grandkids, I see a huge difference. And I feel the same way, because they understand Hebrew a lot better. They teach Hebrew. They're able to open a Gemara easier. They're able to appreciate Sfarim, less of a hassle, less of a stress. Halvai, I would have enjoyed opening up a Sefer. Now, when 30, 20 years ago, before I made Aliyah, nope. Eretz Yisrael, whatever, my work schedule. Either way, there's a certain level of understanding the Yad of Hashem and having bitachon in Hashem. And this goes to really what's taking place now. A lot of us, either we have a lot of bitachon or we're just not thinking about it as much. But some of our neighbors don't hear from their kids for a couple of days. We know that there's operations taking place in Gaza. Just found out my neighbor's son was one of the, he was actually treating soldiers as they were falling in two of the kibbutzim 2 weeks ago, as well as shooting missiles into one of the houses that the terrorists were there. So just found out today. So a lot of things we don't know, a lot of things we're not being told, which I think is fine. And the key is we really we're trying to keep they're trying to be brave. The soldiers are brave. We speak to them. Everyone's very confident, and everyone kind of knows their job, what they're supposed to do. They've been trained well. And there's a level of bitachon that we have here, which you don't see in Chutz La'aretz. But that said, the last piece of Nesiv Shalom in this area has a piece that the Baal Shem Tov really quotes the Baal Shem Tov, who kind of says that, listen, we never made it to Eretz Yisrael, and a lot of people didn't make it there for whatever reason, but we still have a connection to Eretz Yisrael. And the Baal Shem Tov writes, we should always send sholchem manos l'zakos aretz. You should send money. You should daven for people in Eretz Yisrael, because this line is makom shemachshat adam shamhu. The place where a person's heart is, that's where he is. And there's some people, and I get texts literally every day from classmates and relatives and family members, how the boys doing, how are you doing, you know, and it's a lot of support. Some coworkers I worked with, people I still work with, asking how everyone's doing, and where your heart is, that's really where you are. So you could really be in America or be in England, and your heart's in Eretz Yisrael because you're davening for people in Eretz Yisrael, you're sending money for Eretz Yisrael, you're sending things, medical supplies, and that's kind of really what the point is. Even though the Shekhinah is strongest in Eretz Yisrael when the Jews are there, but still there's a certain connection that you can have to Eretz Yisrael, even if you're Chutz La'aretz, if that's where your heart is. And that's kind of very important. A lot of people took their kids home because of this. When I was on a flight going back to Florida for a couple of days, everyone was so happy to be on the plane. Everyone's leaving, and some people were happy coming back. The other way, a lot of Israelis are on the way back, bringing stuff back and being very confident and trying to help as best they can. There's different organizations that are getting people who are flying, get them to schlep a duffel bag. Some of the reservists came back from YU. People went to Hesder Yeshiva here that I heard. So it's actually it's a great thing. And even if you're in Chutz La'aretz, you could still have a kesher Eretz Yisrael if that's where your heart and that's where your tefillas are. We daven every day. Yishmael Yircha Racham Tashuv. And we hope the day that we can all be here, Mashiach times, and all appreciate everything. So with that, Shabbat Shalom. Hope everyone does well. And please keep up the tefillos and keep us in mind. Shabbat Shalom. Here we have, we should speak next time. B'sar Tova.